Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 23 My Team Career Mode. This is episode number 31 today for the Portuguese Grand Prix in Season 2. If you guys did miss the previous one at the Austrian Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. That was probably the most chaotic episode we've had so far in Season 2. 2 red flags over the race weekend, one in the sprint, one in the main race, a little bit of late rain as well, just to throw in the spanner in the works, so definitely worth checking out. But now we turn our attention to the next race in this season, and with another special one-off livery. And this one even more striking than the one we had at Monaco, because that was Sprite Zero Sugar. This is the Sprite Lymonade livery, which is a reference to a special flavor that Sprite make, which is called Lemonade Legacy, which I believe is a strawberry lemonade flavor. And the color scheme of that can is bright pink with reds and purples. And because of that color scheme and the time of year and a movie that just came out, I just couldn't help myself not linking it also to, as you've seen by the logos there, the Barbie movie. So this is kind of a Sprite different flavor livery and a tie-in to the Barbie movie, just because the colors fit so perfectly. I mean, the marketing team for that film has done some mental stuff all around the world trying to get the movie out. So this is their take, I guess, on a Formula 1 livery for one race only here at the Portuguese Grand Prix. A brand new track to this game in this series. We've not done Portimao at all. I've never even played Portimao on F1 23 until this episode, and this is the first time it's featuring on the calendar in my Team Career Mode series. So looking forward to it. I'm hoping the new handling model could make this circuit really enjoyable to drive again, because I did enjoy it in F1 2021, and then F1 22, last year's game, it was a real ball ache with the wheel spin and the lack of grip. So I'm hoping the new handling model could come in clutch here. But we've had a very, very good run of form as of late, with 3 back-to-back second places. We've not actually been off the podium since our win at the Bahrain Grand Prix. So some amazing form and consistency as of late as we try and make the most of this car, because I'm very paranoid about the car becoming slow when the AI start to catch us up. And that might just happen to this race weekend as we purchase some durability upgrades. You'll be happy to hear, because we are going to try and sort out the fact this engine is wearing out. We are definitely going to have to take some penalties sooner rather than later, so we're trying to negate that with some durability upgrades and an engine power upgrade, just to make sure we keep the top spot as the best engine on the grid, because Red Bull have the best aero, so we need to make sure we've at least got the best engine, because that's the only thing we've got going for ourselves versus Red Bull right now in this fight with Lando Norris in the championship. But it's not just Red Bull now we're going to have to worry about, because as we go into the race weekend and look at the performance chart on the R&D, Ferrari have come out of nowhere with a massive upgrade package into Portimao. They are now, technically on paper, the best team on the grid, ahead of Red Bull and ourselves, closely matched, closely followed by Haas and the Mercedes. And you can see McLaren and Alpine very close together on the same similar kind of update path. So Ferrari, you know, Sainz started off so strong in the season, he's fallen away a bit, and I thought, okay, it's going to be like season 1. Ferrari were there at the beginning, but they're just not going to be there for the remainder of this season. It looks like the Scuderia have been listening, and they want to firmly try and get themselves back into the title fight with either drivers and also for the constructors as well. It's a big step, though, into the unknown, coming to Portimao for the first time, because we have no reference point from season 1 of how each team will fare around a circuit like this. A real roller coaster, and there's another spanner you saw there in the intros for quali. It is a bit wet at the start of Q1. I think it will be drying out as we go on through this Saturday, but there is maybe some rain forecast for Sunday's race as well. So this running at the start of Q1 actually might be a little bit useful, just to kind of get used to the track in these kind of conditions as we jump in to our Barbie pink car. And let's hope it's going to be a party for us today, this race weekend. We can continue this consistency of podiums ever since the Bahrain Grand Prix as we run for the second consecutive lap, gaining about 0.6 of a second to go up into P4, but it rapidly dried out at the end of Q1, and you can see 10 seconds to go. We're on a final lap here, a third flyer on the soft tyres. Everyone's out on the softs. There's still some lap times up there that are yet to be beaten on Inters, but there's a massive improvement, you know, of about 6 to 7 seconds. We're going to gain up to maybe just about 6.5 as we cross the line, and that's thankfully going to be enough to get us up into Q2. I was a bit worried though, because I saw Sainz was setting a 116 and we did a 117. I could see we were going to do a 117 something, so I was a bit concerned we were going to be knocked out there because of the track evolution, as we have done a couple of times in recent episodes, but thankfully we do make it through. Ricardo's through, and now the sun is out at Portimao, thank God, so we can drive this track in proper anger and try to suss it out in perfect kind of conditions, because it's really beaming right now. It's not even overcast or cloudy after that wet weather we had. And I gotta say, confirmation, this circuit so much nicer to drive on this game. It really is. It's back to the enjoyment levels for me personally that I had with it on F1 2021 compared to last year's game, F1 22. And to that effect, we're going really well in Q2 as we go P1, 4 tenths ahead of Sainz. Sainz doing well in second place, but he's got a penalty there. You can see it's just flashing up. So, and Lewis Hamilton, by the way, I didn't notice it, but he got knocked out in Q1 because he's not even here in Q2 being knocked out. So it's only Russell as the lone Mercedes in the top 10 shootout. Both Ferraris through, both Red Bulls, and both of our cars, myself and Ricciardo. But yes, Sainz has a 5-second penalty. So for all the upgrades the Ferrari team are bringing, that's going to be him on the back foot immediately compared to his teammate and everyone else, as Lando Norris goes quickest of all. It wasn't an amazingly tidy lap for me, especially in this second sector. I think we can gain a little bit more time in the second sector. We've gone red first sector because my first sector was actually pretty damn decent, so there wasn't too much to improve, and there was actually more to lose in the first sector. But look at this second sector. We've gained about 4 tenths alone, just in that last couple of sequence of corners, really. So really finding some good time on the second run, and we need to, because we're down in P6. Norris goes even quicker. He's into the 115s now here around Portimao, as we have a bit of an oversteer moment as the grip is falling away from us actually compared to Q2. We've had this a few times on F1 23 where the marbles and the grip just fall away a bit in Q3, and to the line we cross it, 4/10 improvement, but it's only good enough for P9, and it's actually behind our teammate Daniel Ricciardo. In the end, Verstappen came out of nowhere. We didn't even see him cross the line to set that lap time, but he bags pole position, a crucial one for him to try and assert some dominance back on Lando Norris. But it's another Red Bull front row lockout. Sainz is third, but he has a 5-place penalty, so that will elevate Alonso to third, Russell on the second row. For us, we've got work to do, but at the same time, because we're close to Ricciardo, this may just be where the car is, I don't know, and maybe it's going to be one of those circuits that just doesn't suit our car, despite me feeling pretty good around it. So gonna have to see, and like I said, there is, I think, a forecast for a little sprinkle of rain in the race that could shake things up. Let's go to the grid for the first ever Portuguese Grand Prix on this game.
The Formula One circus has made its way to the southern coast of Portugal this week and is preparing for what I think will be a terrific race here in Portimao. 2.9 miles of track at Portimao feature 15 turns, 9 to the right and 6 to the left. A lot going on at this track, a lot of elevation changes that'll affect the driver's braking and acceleration. Keep an eye out for the DRS zone on the final straight. That'll be the setup for a lot of today's overtaking opportunities. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Russell, Leclerc, Gasly, Ricciardo, Sainz, the owner driver, Magnussen, Albon, Oscar Piastri, Sargent, Bottas, Joe, Ocon, Perez, Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. And now it's time to head down to the track. And joining me again for the race today, Natalie Pinkham. Now I want to talk to you about Carlos Sainz. They're in for a tough race today as they'll be starting out of position due to a penalty from earlier in the weekend.
Yes, that's not the position you want to be in at the start of the Grand Prix. Penalties like this put you in amongst the traffic. But we know they have more pace than those around them, so I do expect they'll make strong progress in the first few laps.
It's a big stab into the unknown here today. It's our first Grand Prix at Portimao on F1 23 in career mode. P9, Ricciardo's elevated to P7 because Sainz has that 5-place penalty, but Ferrari, best team on the grid, couldn't get anywhere near the front row though, so let's see what the race pace is like for them and for everyone really, because strategy-wise, looks like an interesting one. I thought Portimao would have been quite abrasive, but apparently a one-stop is on the cards for most people. It might just be a bit touch and go at the end of stints. We're going to start on the softs like a lot of people. There are a couple of people in the top 10 that have opted for mediums, including our own teammate Ricciardo, I believe also Fernando Alonso and Russell, so they'll be going longer into the race. But I think a circuit like Portimao, it's really going to bite you if you're not on a quicker tyre. The grip levels, I think, are just not there totally with the harder compounds. But let's see as we go to 5 red lights to the Portuguese Grand Prix. For the first time in this game, it's lights out, and Ricciardo has a shocker of a start on those mediums, so already vindicating our choice to go onto the softs. Magnussen has even overtaken him, and also Sainz, to be fair. Magnussen on an absolute blinder in the Haas up to P8 as we try and close up to Pierre Gasly, who's been a man fine in form recently and actually really been dragging that Alpine to positions I don't think it should be in technically, as he's ahead of us in P6 as we move on to lap 2. There not much for us happening on lap 1. Carlos Sainz behind us onto lap 2, looking to try and get past the Haas, but can't. The Haas is able to defend that improved Ferrari as we now set our sights on Gasly up the crest, down the hill now to that hairpin corner. So difficult to get the braking zone right, but for us, we've got the confidence to actually fake to the left, go to the right, send Gasly a bit of a dummy and get round the outside and dance the car around for P6. And right now, this car on soft tyres is feeling so connected to the road. We're catching up to Russell on the mediums, and he is a bit slow. We need to get past him because otherwise he will hold us up in terms of the progress we're making up the grid. Round the outside, can we go? No. Was always going to be a little bit optimistic there on the outside. Russell does really well to defend and place his car in the perfect position in the middle of the circuit to defend. I think next time we'll try down the inside, but we have a little moment there though on the curb, so we need to avoid those 2 curbs on the last sector, definitely, because they're very, very slippery. But so that kind of throws away my whole connected to the road kind of theory. But no, trust me, the car is feeling really, really good here. So much so that I try another pounce down the inside, but Russell's actually just defending really well, to be fair to him. So I'm getting a little bit frustrated now. We should have probably been past Russell a lap and a bit ago. So let's try and get him maybe now onto the next lap. Try and slingshot this, get a tight apex going, get on the power early. Russell with a slight bit of oversteer. Even on those mediums, maybe the grip just isn't there at the moment. Like I said, I think the hard compounds, they may be durable, but I just don't think they're giving the drivers the grip they need at this stage of the race. Obviously, eventually, those mediums will be the better race tyre once these softs wear out. But right now, that's not the case, and we make an easy pass on Russell into turn 1, up into P5, and now look to try and close up on Leclerc in the Ferrari. Meanwhile, it's Verstappen from Norris still, as it was on the front row on the grid, but Norris trying to change the lead and go for the race lead versus teammate. Verstappen comes back at him though, defiant and keeping the lead he's had so far for the opening 6 laps, and he does so. Verstappen still in P1, Norris having to lick his wounds and go again maybe in 2nd place, but Fernando Alonso is looking pretty damn close, Could he go for a move at the hairpin? No, he's going to be a bit patient, but he's another one of those medium tyre runners, but to be honest, he looks a lot quicker than Russell ever did in these first laps. Alonso hanging onto the back of the Red Bulls, so could Alonso be making a little attempt at an overtake? Meanwhile, Hamilton down in P15. He's up like 4 places, I think, from where he started, being knocked out in Q1. So he's making slow but okay progress, I guess you could say, as we now watch Alonso. Oh my God, he's already on the back of Norris. Even before they opened DRS, Alonso going for the move. The Aston Martin has some serious pace around this circuit and in the straight line, and he's gone round the outside of the Brit. Alonso splits the Red Bulls in that white Aston Martin Honda, as we see Magnussen ahead of Sainz still, and they're both unable to get past Gasly, who's leading a bit of a train now behind us, as we're setting our sights on Leclerc on towards lap 10. But as we go to the line, we're actually going to get an engineering message about ETA for rain is 15 minutes which is a lot earlier than I thought it was going to be. 15 minutes would mean, you know, maybe in about, because it's 1:20 for a lap time, so less than 15 laps, maybe like 12 laps, the rain's going to come. That's a lot earlier than I thought, because I looked at the forecast and there was a wet weather icon. I was thinking around lap 28 maybe, right at the end of the race, potentially making it a slippery circuit. So that actually might be enough for a proper intermediate period as we go for the move on Leclerc, out-traction him as we just go tight on the line, get on the power early. We're side by side now through the high-speed section as we go up and down the roller coaster that is Sector 2 here at Portimao, but we've overtaken the Ferrari and we're up into P4. At the moment, those Ferrari upgrades are not really showing too much here. It may just be the tyre where they're facing now on the softs potentially, because we're also facing a little bit of lack of grip here and there. You can see a few little moments when the rear end is stepping out, but I'm a bit concerned about that radio message about rain. So the rain's coming a lot earlier, which technically means the medium tyre runners, Alonso, Russell, Ricciardo, they could all go to the intermediate period, whereas the rest of us might have to pit before then. So they could be in a massive advantage, and it won't even matter about that pit stop advantage, because Alonso just goes and flies past Verstappen, legitimately on track for the race lead, as we now overtake our championship rival Lando Norris. Oh no, the curb! The curb sent us off, spinning nearly, and Ferrari are back ahead of us. Leclerc re-overtakes us. Norris made a bit of contact with us, but it was ultimately the curb that undid me into turn 1. Now it's another snap of oversteer. The grip is not there. The tyres are probably a little bit overheated from that half spin I had, drifting it through the first few turns to control it, and Russell tries to be a bit cheeky to overtake me as we now see Norris with a 5-second penalty. Was that for the contact with us, I wonder, or did he just cut a corner when he went off at turn 1 whilst we were having our half spin? I don't know. Either way, that's big for us and our championship fight with Norris, because he's going to be, well, done in either with his pit stop, 5 seconds, or he doesn't pit, which is going to be impossible. It would be added to his time, but that's going to be 5 seconds added to his pit stop then, as I continue to check for the weather conditions, and it says 5 minutes now until rain. Lap 13, 5 minutes, 1:20 lap time. Probably you're looking at in 3 laps, 4 laps time, there's going to be rain. That is so early. That's halfway through the Grand Prix. I really thought it was going to be in the last third. So the medium tyre runners are at a massive advantage, because there you go, Leclerc and Verstappen are in for their first pit stop onto dry tyres, and the rain's coming, and you can even see it's getting more overcast as we go on through. Norris is now in, Alonso continues on, Russell continues, Ricciardo as well. All of them are mediums. I'm the odd one out that stayed out on softs, because I'm thinking, look, if the rain's actually going to come in a couple of minutes, could we just see this out? The tyres are very worn, but could we just sit this out until the rain and pull off a 300 IQ play strategy? Right now, though, it's not looking so great because Russell's outdone me on traction. We squeeze him to the inside once again. The Brit tries the inside move at the hairpin, and once again, we're able just to place our car well to get on the power early enough to just send us up that hill before we come down this crest for the double right-hander. But, yeah, I'm checking again for the forecast. Engineer says a few droplets. Russell now going for another move. This time it's into turn 1. He's actually ahead of us fully, but we've squeezed him to the inside, so we take the racing line and we take the place back, and Russell gets absolutely duped by myself by that squeeze we did to the inside. And you know what? If this plan doesn't work for me, at least I can help my teammate out, because Ricciardo is caught up to us, and I'm actually now going to try and see if I can hold up Russell enough just to let Ricciardo by, because he's on the mediums as well. So if there's going to be one car in this team that can do mediums to inters, I want it to be Ricciardo. And so there, we've played that to an absolute T. We've held up Russell enough, not done nothing illegal, we just defended against him, and then we let Ricciardo by. So Ricciardo is now in second place on mediums. Alonso way out in the lead, dominating this race now by nearly 12 seconds on the mediums. And those two and Russell, they'll be just going to the intermediate period, whereas I'm sat here really doing a bit of a rain dance right now in the cockpit, as we once again have to do that squeeze to the inside to defend Russell. But for how long can we keep doing this? At some point he's going to catch us. And Leclerc, remember, he pit earlier off those softs. He's already in P5. He's only 5 seconds down the road. So I'm not going to lie, I think the decision to stay out not a great one. I think I should have come in hindsight. In hindsight, I should have come in. But at the same time, what's happened to Verstappen? Verstappen's down in P12. He's behind Hamilton, for God's sake. Verstappen was leading this race for most of it, and now he's behind someone who got knocked out in Q1. So the Red Bulls have had an absolute howler of a pit stop sequence because Leclerc's the highest man who's already pit in this race. He's P5 as Russell powers past me because my tyres are absolutely gone now. At this point, I'm putting my hands up. This may have not been the best idea because Leclerc is right behind me now. It's not looking great. Ricciardo, though's in! What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Ricciardo's in! Ricciardo's in! And Russell continues on. And I think Alonso has also come in. Yes, he has. Alonso and Ricciardo. What on earth are they doing? You're on mediums, fellas. You should be going longer to the Inters as we defend against Leclerc, trying to maintain what is now P2 in this race. What are they doing? The rain's on the way. It's so dark now. It's overcast officially. The rain's probably like 2 laps out, and they've pitted for dry tyres. Leclerc's down the inside, and he's going to overtake us, I think. Can we out-traction him? No, absolutely not. He's absolutely done us on traction, but... So, yeah, I don't know why Ricciardo and Alonso pit there. I definitely should have pit when Leclerc pit, because look at where he is now. He's back ahead of me, so that could have been me, because we literally were ahead of Leclerc before the pit stops. I don't know what happened to the 2 Red Bulls. Obviously, Norris had the 5-second penalty, so that's why he's down below Leclerc now. But I don't know what on earth happened to Verstappen in his pit stop to be lower than Hamilton. Very, very peculiar. And Russell now coming. Sorry, I didn't realise. Russell's coming now as well on lap 19. What are these strategies from these AI? The rain is on the way, lads. Leclerc leads the race. We're in second place. We could be leading this race on fresher mediums if we just pit when Leclerc did, but I've been so stubborn because we've committed too much. Now we bail out of this, it's too late. And thankfully, finally, lap 20, the rain is coming. So I was actually more on the money. The rain was later in the race because my engineer, the way he kept saying 5 minutes till rain on lap 10 was it made it sound like the rain was going to be here on lap 15, not lap 20. So Mark, you've not done me a solid there of being accurate with the weather prediction, but to be fair, it's never going to be accurate, in real life and in the game as we now defend against Fernando Alonso, who again, like Leclerc, has made his pit stop already and is now re-overtaking us. So we've lost a whole pit stop on Leclerc, on Alonso, by staying out on the softs. But it's because it's too late now. I can't pit for dries because that would just be foolish. I need to now I've made my bed, I now just need to lie in it and see where everything drops, basically, because the rain is coming. It is here, actually. You can see the droplets, on the camera screen from the T-Cam. It's just a case of getting wet enough for intermediates as Alonso gets past us, but we actually get a good exit off that corner to get DRS. Gasly might even try and move out of nowhere. It's 3 wide ourselves, the Aston and the Alpine, and Gasly is going to embarrass both of us and overtake both of us on the outside. How's he done that? Absolutely incredible stuff from Gasly there. Pulled our pants down, he did. Me and Alonso are too busy fighting each other, and the Frenchman is up into P2 as Alonso now tries to re-overtake us again for third. But at this point, he probably hates me. I'm holding him up so much, but I'm trying my best just to keep these cars behind, because the more I can keep behind, the better for me then when we all go on to intermediates, and I think that's going to be pretty darn soon. I think for me, I'm going to have to pull the trigger and come in onto Inters now, because these tyres are done. 84, I'm near to puncher. I am actually in the puncher region as we make contact with Lando as the Red Bull tries to go around the outside. I wasn't meant to try and make contact. I'm just honestly trying to keep this car in a straight line. Magnussen's overtaken us in the Haas, so yeah, it really is ropes right now, so we need to come in. So I'm pulling the trigger. It's not wet enough for Inters quite yet, but I'm hoping with the rate it's falling now from the last 2 laps, I reckon it'll be Inters by lap 24, let's say. Maybe not 23, lap 24. 2 laps early on intermediates on a slightly damp circuit. I could still probably gain some time, I think. So this is it. This is everything. This pit stop right now onto Inters. This is where hopefully our race comes back a little bit into life, because just like all the AI did at Austria when they pit 2 laps earlier than I did for intermediate, I'm hoping to gain massively. Is Verstappen's off on lap 26? It's still not wet enough for most of the grid to come onto Inters, but it's wet enough for Max Verstappen to have a howler. He's slid into the gravel trap and he's now held up on the curb, I think, as he he lets by his teeth. He's still on the gravel. What are you doing? He doesn't have any grip. I think the gravel's too wet and he can't get any grip there. And the safety car is out now because of Verstappen's gravel trap trip right here. He just must have got on this curb and went straight on, and the safety car's out because he was holding up so many people and in a bit of a dangerous spot. So this is where things get interesting, because everyone will not come on to intermediates. Yep, that's right. No one is on inters. Just me. It looks this wet now, and still at this point, everyone is too stubborn to come on to intermediates. We've only got 5 laps of this race, so the AI probably are just thinking it's not worth the time to come in for inters. If they did, we would have probably been leading the race then. But here we are in last place effectively, because we've got Sergeant Piastri out of this one. So P20 is stone dead last in this race with only 4 laps to go actually, as we go on to lap 29. And we've got some work to do to make this a party here at Portimao. As we overtake Liam Lawson, we get a little bit crossed up with ourselves and the traction and the curb, but we go around the outside of Lance Stroll, and I can tell it is time for inters. It definitely is time for inters. Even though I'm skating around, I have much better traction off these corners as we go around the outside of Sonoda. Perez, a little bit questionable because I took a bit off circuit, but they were blocking the entire racing line. We out-traction Bottas, and just look how ridiculous this is. We get down the inside of Russell. We have the grip mid-corner because our inters are actually clearing the water rather than all these slick tyres. So my gamble of staying out on softs, it didn't really pay off because I could be in the lead of this race with Leclerc right now if I pit for mediums, but at the same time, I would have, if this safety car had come out and I was in the lead, I would have pit onto inters. But no one else has thought like that, and so this is why, on to lap 30, we're up to P13, making it 12 as we go into turn 1. Easy does it. We have the front end grip to get it slowed down, and now we set our sights on Hulkenberg, and look at the way they all bunch up into these slower corners. They just don't have the traction. Hulkenberg has a little twitch on the rear end actually, and we're pushing him through the left-hander up the hill. No DRS activated quite yet. The FI think it's actually safe enough though for DRS once we get past 2 laps after the safety car, so that'll help us out even more because we have the superior grip in the corners, and then we'll have DRS to help us. But look at the amount of overspeed we have on Verstappen there, just out that corner, up the hill. This is the correct tyre. It may have looked like a really futile effort staying out for these inters, but now I'm in my element. We've gone from P20 to P10 in like 2 laps now. We're going to get Ricciardo in the final corner up into P9, so we're back into the points. And there's still more positions to come as we go to the right-hand side to try and cool down the tyres, because it's not raining as hard now, actually. So the rain's actually stopping. And so maybe now as we go on through this race, the AI on the dry tyres may actually get quicker and quicker as we go on through. But right now, I'm making the most of the intermediate period as we send it on Lando Norris. He was trying his best to overtake Ocon. Instead, he's going to get overtaken by myself. And now we set our sights on Ocon here. We've got DRS as well to close up into the hairpin. Nice and easy. And then just watch this. We tighten up. We're going to get on the power as early as we can. And then when we can, use a bit of battery. And we're just going to fly by him because we have the grip. So at the moment, this is vindicating my entire gamble of waiting for intermediates. The only thing is now on lap 32, as we overtake Sainz into turn 1 for P6. Now you can see into sector 1, there are way less droplets of rain. Not much rain coming off the chassis either. It's definitely slowing down in terms of the precipitation. So I think by the time we get to the next lap, the last lap of the Grand Prix, it may not even be wet anymore, and it might actually be time for the dry tyres. So our gamble kind of half worked. We legitimately could have won this race because we were ahead of Leclerc before he made his pit stop. So if we just followed his strategy, ironically, if we followed Ferrari's strategy, we would have won the race. Go figure. So Ferrari, what a race for them, and they have been vindicated themselves. I was slagging them off about their race pace, but Leclerc has only gone and won this Portuguese Grand Prix ahead of Fernando Alonso. Gasly in the Alpine on the podium. It's an extraordinary result for Alpine in 3rd place, and Magnussen in P4, and we come home in P6. It's not exactly what I was hoping for. I think we definitely could have won this race, like I said, but if you look at it, we went from P20 to P6 in, what, 4 or 5 laps? That's still an incredible comeback drive right at the end there on the inters.
checkered flag here then in Portimao in what has been another outstanding Grand Prix. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Quite simply, a driver is nothing without the team behind them. So, a deserved winner, but we do have to give a shout out to the team in the pit lane and back at the factory. Very much a collaborative process.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
So Ferrari become the fastest team on the R&D chart and immediately win a race. So it seems like Ferrari really mean business. If they continue this kind of form and actually those good strategies they played today for Leclerc, yeah, Leclerc or Sainz could get into the championship. You know, Leclerc was the one flagging a bit compared to Sainz. So, in reality, this is actually probably the wrong Ferrari driver that's won the race, because Sainz would have actually closed right up to us in the standings, maybe. But Leclerc had more ground to cover. But still, if Ferrari just continue like this and both their drivers can win races, get on the podiums consistently now, they could really be a challenger if they keep it up. That's a big if, but it's there because they're ahead of Red Bull and ourselves now in terms of actual pace on paper and in reality, because they called the shots well and they won the race. But I'm just more impressed by Gasly in third place in the Alpine, and Magnussen very, very solid for P4. Hamilton as well. He recovered from P19, I think that was, to P5. So a big race for him, and for us, P20 to P6 in 5 laps is a huge, huge comeback drive to actually still gain points on Lando Norris. So we extend our lead to 22 points. You can see Leclerc, he won the race, but he's down in P6, so he's got a lot of ground to cover. But the Ferraris as a unit are actually now only 8 points off Red Bull and the Constructors, so they mean business for the Constructors Championship, and the drivers we're going to have to see. But a very, very exciting first ever Portuguese Grand Prix on F123, guys. If you have enjoyed it, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.